Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews, movie reviews from a regular dude. Today, I'm doing another one of those where I talk a little bit about myself, but what I'm going to talk about today is some of the weird paranormal experiences that I've had in my life. I do believe in the paranormal, I believe in God, and I believe in the devil and all that stuff. So, I mean, if there's good, there's definitely evil. If there's evil, there's definitely good, as far as I'm concerned. But let's start with the very first thing that I remember ever happening. Okay, this was probably about 1981 or 82. I can't remember exactly. But my parents and my sister had moved to Yuma, Arizona. I was involved in the Pickleville Playhouse at the time, acting on stage. And so I couldn't go with them because I was right in the middle of the summer season, but I was planning on going down afterwards to work for my dad at his Kentucky Fried Chicken store. And I moved in with a roommate, a friend of mine, and I don't know, I can't remember exactly where I got it. And this is going to sound really ridiculous because when I think about it, it sounds ridiculous. But about that time, I guess they called it the Satanic Panic and all that stuff was going on with the backmasking and everything. And they was claiming that rock groups were putting evil messages in their lyrics of their songs if you played the records backwards and stuff like that. And I got this cassette tape and I was listening to it, and it was playing certain songs from different rock groups, but it was playing them backwards. And you could hear the messages. It wasn't, I don't know, maybe I wanted to hear it, I don't know, but I could hear the messages and everything in them as they were played backwards. And it kind of creeped me out a little bit. And I remember one of the songs was actually from Styx. And it was a song called Snowblind or something like that. I think that's what it was called. But it wasn't one of their popular ones. It was sang by the James Young, I think was the guitar player's name in the group that sang that song. And, well, anyways, I got involved in it, and it creeped me out and everything. And also, I had watched The Exorcist, but I never got all the way through it. It creeped me out too much, so I shut it off. And one night, I was laying in bed in the apartment, and this is back when they had Walkmans. And I had the Walkman on, and I was listening to a cassette tape of Styx. And the song Renegade was playing, that one, "Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law," that song. And I fell asleep with it going on, and this sounds kind of like the movie The Amityville the Possession, because he kind of fell asleep with his Walkman on and everything. Maybe it was all, I think it was all caused by me. Let's get that out in the open right now. I made it happen. I don't think anything like this can happen to you unless you let it happen to you. But anyways, I fell asleep with the Walkman on, and that song was playing, and it woke me up because I heard a really high-pitched voice calling my name. And it freaked me out, and I got my roommate, and I says, "Listen to this. I'm hearing my name on this song. This is scaring the hell out of me and everything." And he wouldn't do it. It scared him too much. He wouldn't listen to it. So I took the tape out of the Walkman, and I actually tore it all apart and everything and threw it in the garbage. And I went back to sleep. And the next thing I knew, I remember waking up, and I felt, I don't know how to really describe it, but I felt an energy starting at my toes, and it shot all the way up through my whole body like something was trying to take me over, and I couldn't. I just fought and fought and fought, and I remember him jumping on top of me and slapping me, trying to, shaking me and everything, trying to get me out of it. And it's really hard to describe what it felt like. it was really terrifying, though. It's the most terrifying thing I've ever had happen in my whole life. And he ended up, now where we lived in Utah is a very big Mormon community, and he called missionaries that happened to be there, and they came to the apartment and actually gave me a blessing and everything. And they said that they were like a few blocks away walking, and they could actually hear me screaming and stuff, because it kept happening over and over and over again. It would happen and I'd fight it, and then it would stop, and then it would happen again and I'd fight it and it would stop. I remember sitting in the kitchen in the chair and falling back into the chair, and he's like shaking me, trying to get me out of it and everything. They came, they gave me the blessing and everything, and then they just left. And I never stayed another night in that apartment. I had to stay in Logan for probably another month before I was going to go to Yuma, Arizona. So I went over and stayed at my aunt's house and slept on her couch for a month. My roommate still stayed there, but I wouldn't stay there. It was a house, but half of the house was set into an apartment. That's where we were living. And after that happened, it kept happening for probably 6 months to a year afterwards, but it was never as bad as that night. And I would just, start praying and everything, and it would go away. It would subside. But I remember sleeping on my aunt's couch, and she had wind chimes outside, and I'd hear the wind chimes, ding, 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 ding. And that just creeped me the hell out. For the month that I was there, I probably didn't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours a night, because I'd hear those wind chimes going off, and it would freak me out, and I'd just get up and go driving in my car before I had to go to work the next morning. Or I'd go down to the convenience store and play video games until I had to go to work, just something to get my mind off of it. And then when I came home from work, I'd usually fall asleep on the couch and take a nap in the afternoon, because I didn't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours a night. I just couldn't do it. But like I said before, I think I made it happen to myself because I got too wrapped up in it. My dad always, when I called him and told him what had happened to me, his immediate feeling was that somebody had slipped me LSD or something like that, but that never happened. I wouldn't have been around anyone who would have done that, and I wasn't anywhere where that would have happened. It was something real. It was something that really happened. And okay, that's enough of that one, I guess. And before that, this didn't happen to me, but this happened to my sister when we lived in Gunnison, Utah. There was a little house that we rented, and she was having like night terrors while we were living in this house. And she said she woke up in the middle of the night, and there was like a jester sitting on top of her in like the jester hat and everything, and a clown face and everything, holding her arms down and laughing at her. And it terrified her. And she had that same thing happen like numerous times after that. And that's pretty scary too. But there's also been some good things, kind of good things that have happened to us. Like, for instance, my aunt, the same aunt that I stayed with when that happened to me, her grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-grandma Turner, always wore like a certain perfume. And my aunt was actually living, I can't remember if she was in Seattle or Denver. She lived in both places, but she was living in one of those places, and she smelled my great-grandmother's perfume really, really strong. And so she called her mother, my grandmother, or my grandmother called her. I'm not sure which, but it was like immediately after she smelled that, and told my aunt that her great-grandmother had just passed away. So to me, that's not just a coincidence. It's kind of freaky, but it's not just a coincidence to me. I've had some other experiences. My dad passed away in 2002. We were living in Bullhead City, Arizona, when he passed away. And we ended up moving to Sacramento, California, and I went to work at my uncle's restaurant there, waiting tables and stuff. But I remember being real stressed out at work one day because I had just started waiting tables and I got overwhelmed and I got really stressed out. And when I went home, I was just really depressed and everything because my dad had passed away not too long before that. And I remember just laying in bed and feeling really sorry for myself and wanting to go to sleep and just not wake up again. And I remember laying there in bed and I fell asleep, and it's like a dream, but to me it was way too vivid to be a dream. I think it really happened. But I was on a bus, and this was probably 6 to 8 months after my dad had passed away. I was on a bus, and I was like the age I was then, so probably about 41, 42 years old. And I was getting off this bus, and my dad was standing there waiting for me. And he was about 40 years old or something in the dream. It was a young version of my dad. And I remember getting off the bus, and I says, "Dad, I've missed you." And I put my arms around him, and he hugged me, and he says, "I've missed you too," and everything. And then I woke up. And I woke up crying, but I woke up, it was like happy tears. I think he was just basically letting me know that everything was going to be okay and everything. Anyways, that's what I believe. And my sister had a kind of an experience too, where it was in a dream, but I think it was probably the same thing. She was missing him and everything. So she was dreaming that she was walking up a stairway of like an old, like in a slums, in a ghetto, in a really rundown apartment building, and she could feel that somebody was following her, and she would like speed up going up the stairs, and they would speed up, and she could hear them, and they were like breathing down her neck. And she got right to the door of the apartment and went to open it, and all of a sudden the apartment door busted open, and my dad stepped out, and he had his shirt off and everything and shaving cream on his face like he was shaving, and he just looked at the person that was behind her and said, "What do you want?" Like that. And the person turned and ran. And my sister was like, Dad, you're here. I love you, you know, and everything. And they hugged each other, and he told her, "Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. You don't have anything to worry about. I'm watching you," and stuff like that. And then she woke up. So I believe in the afterlife. I believe in good and evil and all of that stuff. And too many things have happened in my life for it to be coincidence. But anyways, that's my thoughts on all of it. And I hope you found this interesting. If you did, leave a comment down below. Smash the like button. And make sure you subscribe. Thank you. And I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and when you subscribe, tap that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. See you next time. Yeah!